Hello, this is Gary at Jack Raven Bushcraft. Thank you for watching our video. Slightly chilly day in the woods today, hence me wearing a hat and my buff. This is how cold it is, so this is just our kind of hand washing, and yeah, it's kind of iced over a little bit. What I want to talk about today is bushcraft tools. So just to give you a kind of little background to my thinking on this one, back about a month or 6 weeks ago or so, I wrote a post on our blog around is bushcraft an expensive hobby. So if you haven't read that, then it's just jackravenbushcraft.co.uk, and I've got a few of my thoughts on that. Basically it can be, but it shouldn't be. And of course a large part of the expense is likely to be around kit. Now I did also a couple of weeks back or so, I did a video around my fire lighting kit. Other than that, basically for bushcraft, in my view, you just need some basic camping equipment. So you need sensible and appropriate outdoor clothing for the time of year. You're going to need a tent or a tarp, a row mat, whether an inflatable one or a foam one, sleeping bag, torch, first aid kit, and then something to cook with, a billy can, a frying pan, that kind of thing. Add into that the fire lighting kit and you're pretty much set to go, with a couple of exceptions, and that's really good to be around your bushcraft tools themselves. So I thought I would, as I say, talk about that a little bit. So the first thing you're going to need is a knife. So for bushcraft, in my view, a folding knife, so the kind of penknife type thing, isn't really going to be suitable. What you need is a fixed blade knife, so something like this. This is a Mora knife. So Mora is a town in Sweden, very well known for the quality of its steel, and they make some really good knives. These are, well, I've seen them for various prices. Do a little bit of searching around, you can get them from anything from a tenner basically, and it is a fantastic knife. Sheath, maybe not so good. So I use a Mora, but I've got it in a leather sheath. If you want to make a leather sheath for it, well, come on one of our courses. Otherwise, you can buy these online. You're probably going to pay more for the sheath than you will the knife, to be honest. But I think it's probably worthwhile. So you will see lots of discussion online about knives. What kind of knife should you buy, and all of these kinds of things. Now, these could be useful. They could certainly inform your choice, but what I would strongly suggest you do is go to somewhere that you can handle these tools before you buy them. So regardless of how many reviews people a particular knife has got on Amazon or on a particular seller's website and so on, you need to have it in your hand, and that's because we're all slightly different. So the width of our palm, the length of our fingers, all of these things are going to be different for each and every one of us, and so that means a knife has to feel right for you, has to feel right in your hand. So I made this mistake years ago when I first got into bushcraft. In fact, I think even predating the internet, I sort of remember phoning up to order a knife, and then I waited, with great anticipation for it to turn up, and it was a beautiful knife, absolutely stunning craftsmanship on it. It was too small for my hand. It just didn't fit into my hand. So yeah, don't do that. Get to somewhere that you can try some knives out, and make sure that they feel right for you, make sure that they feel comfortable for you. Now, and until you're able to do that, if you don't get the opportunity to do that, then just go for something like this. You really can't go wrong. These are this is a Mora Companion. It's a 2mm blade. My own one, it's more or less the same. This is the Mora Robust. It's got a 3.2mm wide blade, I think it is, something like that. Now I keep saying that when so I use these with our students, we have done for 10 years now, and I keep saying, well, when they break, I'll replace them with the robust knives. The reality is they just they go on and on and on. And so, you know, earlier when I said about is bushcraft expensive, it can be. Yeah, it can be if you want to pay £500 for a knife, but it doesn't need to be, because you can buy one for a tenner. So get yourself a fixed blade knife. You are going to be able to do most of the things that you need to be able to do in the woods with a knife. So we've done videos in the past on how to do a rosette cut, so for cutting greenwood with a knife. I've done videos in the past on how to batten down through to cross cut. I've done knives on how to split lengthways to produce kindling, all with a knife. So the majority of things that you're going to be able to need to do, you will be able to accomplish with something like this. With that said, a saw is going to make life much easier for you. So this kind of folding saw or pruning saw, yeah, I use these. This is for Bacco, another Swedish company. Yeah, the Swedes, Scandinavians, they know what they're doing in the outdoors. This is a Bacco Laplander. These are anything from 20-25 quid. With that said, if you go down to B&Q or Home Base or any of those type places, they sell their own brands of them for less than that, less cost than that. I've seen them in Aldi and Lidl from time to time. These ones I do particularly like because they've got this kind of lock here, so we push this button and the saw is now open, but it's locked in this position, so you need to push the button again and to close it. So these can be really labour saving. Again, we've got a video up there that shows you how to use them safely. So I did see towards the end of last year, Bacco were selling the Bacco Laplander and a knife which was basically a Mora, but it had Bacco stamped on it, and they were selling them for 25 quid for the pair. So again, does bushcraft have to be expensive? Nope, you can get away with, you know, two really good quality tools here for not too much money. Typically, this saw, I should say, sorry, typically the Laplander is in, it's in green. I got this one in orange just for visibility. So, you know, put this down on the floor and it's going to be much easier to find again, or, you know, similarly if I hang it in a tree while I, you know, in between doing things, then I've got much more chance of being able to find something in orange. So yeah, between these two tools, virtually everything you want to do out in the woods, you're going to be able to do with a knife and a saw. As you become potentially a little more experienced in your bushcraft and wanting to develop your skill set, you might start thinking about adding an axe into the mix. There are various manufacturers out there. My advice, similar to with a knife, it has to feel right for you. You know, so try to go somewhere where you can get hold of a bunch of axes. So for instance, on our axe workshop that we run, we'll bring in sort of, you know, a whole variety of different axes from different manufacturers and that kind of thing, and we'll offer people the opportunity to try them out so that they can try to understand what's going to feel right for them. So personally, I use this is the Gransford Brooks small hunter's axe. For a long time in bushcraft, the kind of go-to was the Gransford Brooks small forest axe. And it's a fantastic axe. In terms of dimensions, it's more or less the same length on the handle. The head is more or less the same size. It's just a slightly different shaped handle on it. So the small forest has a bit more of a dog leg on it. And again, it comes back to this thing about feeling right for you. And when I tried out various axes, this one just felt better for me. It felt better balanced. It felt more comfortable in my hand. But this is going to be the kind of thing that you're going to end up with. Essentially what an axe is going to do, it's going to allow you to do things quicker, more efficiently. I would suggest though taking a look at how to use an axe safely, either by going on a course such as the one we run, or watching some videos. An axe is an unforgiving tool. If you mess up with this, then you can end up, you know, well, losing fingers or big hose in you, that kind of thing. So it is a tool that you have to know how to use competently, or it can be potentially hazardous. In a somewhat sort of made up scenario here, if I could only have one tool, I would actually choose an axe. This would be the thing that I would take with me if I was only allowed to take one under, I don't know what kind of circumstances, but this would be my preferred option. So essentially you can do everything with an axe that you can with a knife, but you can't do everything with a knife that you can with an axe. So yeah, this would definitely be my preferred option. Lastly here, I mean, again, this is entirely optional, but some kind of multi-tool can be a useful thing to carry around with you. So I've got a Leatherman Wave. This was a 40th birthday present, which is much longer ago now than I care to think about, but it can be a useful thing. And mostly what I use on this actually is the kind of the plier bits. I've used those several times. I've also used the little screwdriver on it for tightening up this little screwdriver for tightening up the arm on my glasses when that came loose one time. And this particular one does also have a interesting feature here. So it's got a sharpening file built in as well, which it's kind of useful, but it's not going to allow you, quite clearly, to sharpen the blade that comes with the knife. So it's ideal for sharpening something else, you know, axe, that kind of thing. So yeah, something to consider anyway, but certainly not mandatory, necessary, I guess. I've been asked from time to time, especially in relation to knives, you know, do you carry a backup knife? You know, what's your backup knife? And the answer to that, actually, no, I don't carry a backup knife, because I've got an axe with me as well. So this is another cutting tool. So, you know, if I was to lose this, then I have got another tool with me that will allow me to do those cutting tasks. And indeed, you know, as I say, I normally carry my Leatherman with me as well, and that's also got a knife on it. Okay, it's a folding knife and not suitable for everything, but it will do at least some of the tasks that I need to do. So in summary, guys, when you're thinking about getting your tools together for bushcraft, start with a knife, cheap and cheerful. Learn how to use it. Learn understand what tasks you want to do with the knife. Try them, though. That's the most important bit of advice I could give you here. Try before you buy on all of these things. Start with knife, go on to saw. As you become more experienced in your bushcraft, then start thinking about getting an axe. So hopefully that's going to be useful to you guys. We will be getting some more content out next week. In the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Take care and stay safe.